In April of 2018, the Lima Symphony Orchestra was one of 17 orchestras in the country to receive a Futures Fund grant by the League of American Orchestras, made possible by the Anne and Gordon Getty Foundation. The League of American Orchestras leads, supports, and champions America's orchestras in the vitality of the music they perform.
For Getty to actually recognize that there is so much happening in the smaller budget orchestras and to make this opportunity available to us is incredible. Other than something innovative and relevant, there were no parameters whatsoever. There were no limitations whatsoever. So I came back to the staff and said, let's dream. What do we want to do? And then that weekend I went home. It was a Friday during the staff meeting. I went home and a young woman that my sons were in high school with overdosed and died. And the opioid crisis was in the papers every day. And at that point, Ohio was really the epicenter of the opioid crisis. And I thought, we have to do something. It is incumbent upon us. It is incumbent upon everyone who can in any way make an impact. And this problem affects all of us. And so everyone needs to do everything we can to fight this crisis.
So the Lima Symphony Orchestra approached the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board about the possibility of doing a concert series in the community. I honestly, when Elizabeth first came and asked about that, I didn't know. I had to stop and think for a minute. I thought, well, what? I'm not sure what you could do, because we always think of treatment and you have to be a mental health professional and all that. And then I thought, well, music is a common language, and wouldn't it be wonderful to have the folks who maybe are suffering with mental illness right now have that experience of people from the musical world coming to them and wanting to play for them. And it was like, the sparks, the music started to play.
Well, for me, it was almost immediate, yes, let's do this. Many of our patients had not ever really had the opportunity to see a symphony. Many of our patients we had seen loved music, but we had never really had the opportunity. So for me, it was an immediate yes.
Music has always been a way of reaching sort of that part of yourself, that emotional part of yourself that maybe words can't touch. Classical music literally reverberates within you and elicits feelings that I thought would be a way of letting young people, residents at Union Square Crisis Center, share a common human experience.
Anyone coping with any type of pain, and that's what we're talking about with addiction, is a type of pain. We're also talking about a disease process, that there's many emotions that come up over and over again, because with addiction, just like many other chronic diseases, you're going to have the peaks and the valleys. So if we're using music as a tool and we're maybe trying to attach maybe an emotional engagement or just a different type of engagement than ever been approached before, I think it's important to present a wide variety.
What we've found is, through this Healing Through Music program, is that we are bringing light to people who are in a very dark space, that we're giving them hope, that we're giving them peace, that we're just giving them a few minutes to forget what's actually happening in their world and the chaos of their world around them.
As we study music and memory, the part of the brain that recalls music and evokes those specific memories it seems to be different than some of our other higher cognitive abilities, specifically related to memory.
Part of what we're doing is this interactive piece of it, and so that's as important really as the music that we're bringing, is the discussion that happens throughout and then after the program. And just to laugh and just to embrace the people and realize that their struggles are our struggles too, because no one is immune from this. Mental health issues affects 1 in 4 people in their lives, and just to again be able to relate on that fundamentally human level is really important.
We took the opportunity to find out how they were feeling, what they were experiencing, and to talk about some of those moments and the relief that they were getting from that. We did have one patient that chose to sort of stand in the hallway. It was kind of, the music was loud enough, they could experience it, didn't come into the actual group. By the second round of the music, he had come all the way to the door and told them at the end that it was really good. So it really encompassed for the patients a sense of belonging.
I think that's what music does. It bypasses all that critical thought and just helps us to become in touch with our humanness.
And the exciting thing is that after we announced the Getty Grant in the paper, we had so many calls from people saying, we want you to bring that program to us. And one of the most compelling of those was from the Allen Oakwood Correctional Institute. And the chaplain there called me and said, we would love for you to try to bring this program to us. And would you be willing to come to me? And I said, yes, emphatically, absolutely yes. Just not with this funding. And so, let me reach out into the community for new funding. And we found people very enthusiastic about the idea and had our first performance there. There were 80 inmates who attended, and it was just a really transformative experience. And what was so beautiful about that too was, again, watching the inmates and knowing that just for those 2 hours that we were performing, they closed their eyes, they were somewhere else.
On Saturday, October 13th, 2018, an ensemble from the Lima Symphony Orchestra was escorted across the grounds of Allen Correctional Institution and into the institution's chapel. This small group of musicians played classical music to a packed house. The selection included the music of some of the greats like Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart. The ensemble also entertained by putting a classical spin on a few contemporary works by such groups as the Beatles and Queen. The exposure to a live performance of classical music is probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for some in attendance, and quite possibly a life-changing experience for others. We live in an age that touts cultural diversity, and here in one afternoon, a bit of that diversity was front and center in a place that could truly use more of it. For the fortunate few in attendance at this little event, to have witnessed something larger than the sum of the few, to those few, that divide may not be as far as it once was. And as a bonus, they now have a day to remember, and hopefully this was the first of many such events. Seldom do we hear about good things in prison, yet here is an example of just that. True rehabilitation is through self-edification, and self-edification comes from within. It is enlightenment, and it's not something that can be bought or sold at the market. It is not something that can be force-fed. It is, if I may be so bold, the things in life that help us see the world anew. Thanks to the Lima Symphony Orchestra for sharing your gift of music.